Ladies and gentlemen,
in the background, ruffles and flourishes being presented at John F. Kennedy Stadium because the arrival now of the President of the United States. President Ford, having just arrived at nearby International Airport here in Philadelphia by helicopter from Washington, D.C., attending the 75th, the Diamond Anniversary Game. A former University of Michigan football player out here on a beautiful day where the temperature is about 39 degrees, lots of sunshine, and of course a capacity crowd. The last president to attend an Army-Navy game was President John F. Kennedy in 1962. Navy won it 34-14. And prior to that, in 1952, President Harry S. Truman, Navy winning 7-0. And now our national anthem. Look at the brigade of midshipmen, some 4,200 strong, numerically even with the corps of cadets from the Hudson. They too with a membership of 4,200. And today, as they have for the past 2 years, are playing for the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. Won initially by Army, last year by Navy, in a humiliating 51-0 defeat of Army. So it's up for grabs again today, and appropriately, the President of the United States, Gerald Ford, is here to watch the game, to participate in the toss of the coin, and let's see if we can... There's the
tails is called. It is a tails. It's your choice, sir. You'll take the ball. Which end you wish to defend, Captain? You want to defend that way. Okay, Bob. That's this direction. Good luck, Father. Good luck, sir. Guys, can we get a picture of that?
Here now, the brave old Army team. 3 victories, 7 defeats. The co-captains for the Navy down on the field with the President, Cliff Collier, and Tim Hardin. Captain for Army, the non-playing Bob Johnson. In the dark blue jerseys, those football players from the United States Naval Academy. And today, we're proud to have the head coach of the United States Air Force Academy, Coach Ben Martin, with us. And on the far side of the field, Army makes its appearance. Coached by first-year head coach Homer Smith, whereas George Welch, the coach of the Midshipmen, is in his second year. So we're moments away now for more pageantry and the opening kickoff of this battle. I'm Chris Schenkel here in South Philadelphia with a native, a man who graduated from the United States Naval Academy, 17 years head coach of the United States Air Force Academy. Ben Martin. Ben, you won and lost to these two teams.
Yes.
What do you expect?
I think it's going to be a terrific game. I can already feel it right in the middle of my stomach. It's the same old feeling we've had so many times, and I think this is going to be a classic.
A 3-yard gain. It's a 3rd down and 4. And Ben Martin of the Air Force, big play.
They need it here, Chris. They're backed up, and they're going to be kicking out against that wind. It doesn't seem like much of a problem, but there's no doubt it will be.
Field, and we'll have to be informed by the timers down there on what is happening. So this is the 3rd play, 3rd and 4. And did they get enough? It's going to be very, very close in the first series of downs because Navy kicked off to Army. Army in the white jerseys. Dan Spangler moving the ball, and it's a 1st and 10 for the Cadets. This is the first series of downs following the opening kickoff. And the Navy defense met the challenge. Dan Spangler, number 44. The fullback tried to bust through, but Dave Papak of Monongahela, Pennsylvania, did his job. So now it's going to be a 4th down. 4th down and about 8. Shielding his eyes because he's looking into a very bright sun here in South Philadelphia. May have its effect. Here's Hoopengardner's kick. Nearly blocked. And it's coming to the near sideline. It is not a very long kick. In fact, it went only 20 yards, and the Midshipmen of Annapolis now. Up front, we have Owens, 34, Seward, 73, Collier, Reed, Driscoll, Fleckler, and Woolley. Those are the men that will be up blocking or catching passes, 2 of them. It's left tackle from Fresno, California, number 93. Let's take a look at the portraits of the backfield men. Number 15, freshman Mike Robin. This is number 80, Amin, the junior. Now we're looking at Goodwin, number 43, the fullback. And here is Cleveland Cooper, who has broken all records at the Naval Academy. So now with a 3rd down and 5, another test, first one for Navy. No score in the game. Let's watch. It appears that he departed from the field too soon, Robin. Now by Steve Dykes, number 91. The point is the 35 plus the 10 of the end zone. He has a following wind of 16 miles an hour, so it's a 45-yard attempt. Here it is. It's up. It's long enough. And it's good! So after only a few minutes of play, stalled at the 28, the Midshipmen have just kicked a 45-yard field goal and quickly take a 3-0 lead. Following the return, let's see what they can do, trailing 0-3. Galogly trying to pass off lateral back off the triple option wishbone. That makes your heart
That
stop.
was something else. The defensive end for Navy just went right across and took away the pitch out, and
Galogly in the slot on 3rd and 13. And the ground game is not doing too well as Andy Bushak, number 50 of Parma, Ohio, came in to force Army to punt. Hoopengardner. And again, looking into the sun is Robin Amin. This time, Hoopengardner gets one high in the air. Calling for a fair catch was Amin, number 80. And now Navy will start from its own territory, from their own 41. There's no score in the game, and after only a rather 3-0. Here too, I think. It's 3rd down and 4. Very, very close for the first down by Mike Robin of Great Falls, Montana, the freshman quarterback. As Dave Duncavage, who made the stop, we have a replay of his defensive work.
yeah, Double Bean's a terrific punter, very consistent, stylish.
40.8-yard average. And back is Gary Smithy, and a loose ball. And Navy gets the first break of the ball game. The Midshipmen have the ball inside the Army 15. Recovering was number 89, Carl Sharperson, a wide receiver. Now watch.
Here comes the kick. It's a low liner. It should be handled, but went right through, and the Navy had the good coverage down there, so they had the ball on inside there.
Oh, the nation's oldest service academy. Army is being tested on a 2nd and 7 now. Cooper. Dyson moving over to make the stop. Army in white, if you just joined us. Navy in the dark jerseys here at JFK Stadium. And now they have a 3rd down and 3 at the Army 6. Cooper. And denied. That brings up. See, it's very, very close to that forward stake. Let's watch the referee, Sam Winterberg. Chuck Baker and Greg Dyson defensively, 82 and 51. At their own 41, they're now at the Army 3. Touchdown, Navy, Bob Jackson. First quarter, we'll take a pause for this message. Number 91, Steve Dykes teeing up the ball. The drive, scoring drive by Navy, 13 yards, following a punt which was recovered as we look at Billy the Goat, number 19, given to the Academy by the class 1927, which...
Chris, thank you very much. As you mentioned earlier, the President of the United States, Gerald Ford, is here and did flip the coin at the center of the field to begin the game. That coin, a beautiful gold mounted on platinum, will be given to him at halftime, and we will be here, hopefully, when he comes to this side of the field to sit with the Army cadets during the second half. We'll have a chance to talk with him. As you know, of course, he was a former football great at the University of Michigan and is very knowledgeable about the game. Back up to you, Chris.
Okay, it's 10-0 Navy. Army with the ball at their own 20 with a first down. It was Galogly, the quarterback, giving to 44, Dan Spangler of Sydney, Ohio. The ball out at the 25. It's a 2nd and 5. Army. And carrying on the play, Gackle for Navy. Navy in the dark jerseys. We're now looking at the Army offensive huddle. Army team that scored 42 points last week at North Carolina, losing, however, 56 to 42.
Backyard.
So now it's 4th down and 1. 3rd down rather and 1. Galogly gets the first down. That was the 22nd play in the football game here in the first quarter, and we're still looking for the first forward pass. All right. 3rd and 7. Here's the first pass. Oh, it was way too long. Overshot the receiver, and a safety man named Gene Ford of Louisville, Kentucky. Amin is deep, again looking into the sun. Nearly blocked. And a fair catch called for by a man up front, Chet Moeller, who has been that rover defensively. Moeller calls for the fair catch to be leading 10-0. 2nd and 5. Nice hole. Jerry Godwin, number 43 of Flint, Michigan, gets the first down for the Middies. Cleveland Cooper coming outside, showing you some of his early speed. And I wouldn't be surprised if sometime today he's going to bust a long one. The Army defenseman who made the stop. Former Michigan football player, President Gerald Ford. On Thanksgiving Day, the White House entertained his 1930 high school teammates, called the 30-30 Club, with a Thanksgiving Day brunch. At 10, leading 10-0. We're in the first quarter, the waning moments. Beautiful late pitch to Cleveland Cooper, who did a spin and moved inside the 30. We're in on the play. Starkell from Enid, Oklahoma. So, seconds of the first quarter. Robin back to Megan Gilmore. Ed Gilmore, number 22 of Long Branch, New Jersey. Carried to the outside and gets the first down, and the gun has sounded. No, it has not. That was just some of the hijinks, some of the antics that go with the game. Looking at a clock now that is operative. Come from the Army 18. Navy in the dark jerseys will be snapping it. They gained a 1st and 10 on the last play of the first quarter. They lead Army by a score of 10-0.
Particularly is actually Navy has it all gone from them with 59 yards total, 24. No passes being completed is a big difference. I thought we'd have a little of that, but I think the big difference in the stats is where Navy started their drives and where Army started them.
Of the drive, 2nd and 5 at the 13. Marker down as Ed Gilmore goes across, but let's see, there may be a shift penalty.
That's illegal procedure, I'm sure, against Navy. Everybody was moving around.
All right, that was shift penalty. Now let's go down to our colleague Don Tollefson.
There have been many great hijinks involving the Army-Navy game over the years, but the real Academy Award winner occurred in 1971. It had been rumored all week before that game that President Nixon or Vice President Agnew might show up. Shortly before the game, a limousine surrounded by security men enters the stadium. The Corps of Cadets stood and saluted, and finally the limo stopped in front of the midshipmen. And out stepped, guess who? The Navy goat. But Army got the last laugh. They won that game 24-23. Chris?
They're playing Harris' team in South Bend, and they're very powerful, but Johnny McKay's team has come along well at the end of the season. It's going to be a real ding-dong battle.
There is high formation. 3rd down and 10.
Ooh, that was close.
Wasn't that close?
Great deal of pressure on the passer.
Number 86. And on the field, Ben, we have 2 players named Ford. This was Stan Ford. A 35-yard field goal attempt by Steve Dykes, who kicked a 45-yarder earlier, but this one is into the wind, and that does make a difference. No good. It's about a 16-mile-an-hour wind coming from out of the left. Gary Smithy fielded the ball, and we'll be back with the Army play in a moment.
One of the great parts of the Army-Navy game is the great support the cadets and midshipmen give their teams. But back in 1944, when our guest commentator Ben Martin was playing for Navy, his roommate rooted against him. Students couldn't travel to away games in those days because of World War II. So when Martin was playing, his roomie was a turncoat middy, ordered to root for the cadets. Needless to say, it's tough to win when your roomie's against you. And Army won that game 23-7. Chris?
On a 2nd and 6 play, Marcus Hardy, number 45 of Lexington, Kentucky, carried on the play for 2 yards. Paypack 77 on the tackle. So it's going to be a 3rd down and 4 for Army. A wishbone. 3rd and 4. Hitting it enough for the Army 1st down. It's going to be mighty close. And Martin are going to be the coaches of this year's East-West game on the coast. Galogly nearly comes out for their deepest penetration is Andy Bushak, number 50 of Parma, Ohio. Comes in to make the tackle to the left side. What a play. Marcus Hardy, number 45, the sophomore, comes out up near the front stake.
Intensity level is really way up there.
A new split end, Howie Williams to the far side, number 89. Pitch goes to 37, Dodrill, and Army has gone into Navy territory for the first time. And a beautiful block by number 34, Bob Simon. 17-yard gainer for the Cadets. So the ball is now at the Navy 41.
That's the lead option where they get a fella out in front to block the man who's forcing from the secondary.
First down at the Navy 41, Navy leading 10-0. Army with the ball. And questing is Dan Spangler, number 44. And it's an Army 1st down. Navy in the lead, 10-0. A beautiful second effort by the quarterback, Scott Galogly. Number 14 is Hubler. Number 60 made the stop. 9 Howie Williams at the bottom of your screen, the split end, 2nd and 4. Oh, dangerous. Kalogly over the ball.
I'll tell you, the defensive end just came right across to deny that pitch, and Scott Kalugli coming right off the classic triple option with the fake to the fullback comes out here. That's not a loaded one this time, so the end who has taken away the pitch is right there. No one to block him. Same thing that happened earlier in the game. They're really defending that pitch out.
With a 3rd and 14 now. Not enough for the first down. There he is, number 45, Marcus Hardy, carrying for the Cadets. The Spirit of Army.
They really are. They got to get it in there. No way to go.
Not that way. And the Navy's Chet Muller sinks the Army on that play.
I'll say, ball hawk. Run away from this fella, number 48. He comes across, attacks the quarterback, drives him deep, spins him, gives him no opportunity to pitch out at all. Great play on the defense.
And will do on first down, leading 10-0. And that's what we mean about Cleveland Cooper of the United States Naval Academy. Joe Clancy, number 29, forcing Cooper out of bounds after an 18-yard gain. The Navy leading 10-0. 8:26 to go, first half. Here's the Army 32. Cooper. And Cooper goes deeper across the 25. Doug Cabbage, the linebacker, number 54 of Trumbull, Connecticut, was in on the tackle. And the brigade of midshipmen have at the Army 25. Navy leading 10-0, second quarter. First down by Goodwin, number 43. He gets to about the 15 of Army. Team for Navy. All right. What a day the freshman, Goodwin, number 43, is having. About one. Jackson, number 38, goes 6 yards for a 6-pointer. So 5:28 left in the first half, and the midshipmen have taken a 17-0 lead.
Army and Navy officers have always taken this game seriously, but back in the 1890s, things really got out of hand. A rear admiral or brigadier general got in such an argument that they threatened to have a duel. When the Secretary of the War heard about it, he decided to call off the game for a period of 6 years. Tempers finally cooled, and they resumed the game in 1899. Chris?
You just joined us. A 45-yard field goal by Dykes of Navy put the midshipmen ahead. And then a 13-yard 4-play drive following a fumbled punt recovery. They lead 17-0. It's 2nd and 8 now for the Cadets.
That was an unbalanced line again. They set the wide side of the field and ran toward their unbalanced.
So it's a 21-yard gain as we look at Billy 19. Here's Don Collison.
This is Bill the 19th, who is Navy's mascot. He's been the mascot for the last 2 years. He was a reserve mascot for 5 years before he got the promotion. Goats have been Navy's mascot since the 1890s because they make great seagoing pets.
Not the Falcon that you have now in Colorado Springs. Marcus Hardy. He needed 7 yards on the play and didn't quite get it, but to bring up the spirits of the Cadets a little bit, they did get into Navy territory to, well, let's call it the 48. 48. Army with a 3rd down and 3. Hodges split to the left. And the Navy defense, boy, they really bunch them up toward the line, don't they?
Sure do. Of course, the Army has only thrown that one pass, and so Navy's playing the percentages. They have 9 men almost on the line of scrimmage.
Navy has had to operate at their own 14 with a 1st and 10, and they lead 17-0. Roban giving to Goodwin. Goodwin's had quite a day, and he continues his fine offensive efforts from the field behind the freshman Roban. Locks Ahead of that forward stake goes Cleveland Cooper, number 25, the tailback.
This is the first season for Coach Homer Smith. The man Army hopes will rebuild their football program. Last year, Smith was the offensive coordinator at UCLA when the Bruins were the top rushing team in the country. He played his college football at Princeton. He served as an assistant coach at Army and Stanford, and as a head coach at Davidson Pacific before joining Pepper Rogers at UCLA in '72. When Rogers went to Georgia Tech this fall, Smith accepted the head job here at West Point. Chris?
Okay, third down at 7. Navy on third down is 1 of 4. They lead, though. All right, Goodman carrying the ball, and he did not get the necessary yardage. Single safety again, looking into a bright sun.
This John Stufflebeam is a super kicker. Against Notre Dame, he had 10 kicks for a 53-yard average, which made a big difference in the contest. George Welsh, who is in his second season as Navy's head coach, is the first Naval Academy graduate to coach the Midshipmen since 1947. He played at Navy during the 1950s, and he still ranks 6th on their all-time passing and total offense list. He was an assistant coach for 10 years at Penn State before coming to Annapolis, and while there he coached such outstanding backs as Lydell Mitchell and John Hufnagle. Chris?
All right, Lehman Hall, the new quarterback, the freshman from a double-wing formation, puts one into the air. Was an early indication of a first down, and then a measurement was called for. Tyson catching the pass, so now it's a second down and a little more than the length of a football. It is not a first down. From about the 34, Hall, 6'5". Oh, he's got one out there. But apparently in the wrong hands, and the Army would-be catcher tried to say there was interference, but Ed Jeter, number 19 of Memphis, Tennessee, intercepts.
Here it goes again. Lehman Hall dropping back in the pocket. He's throwing a long one, a fly pattern way downfield, but that prevent defense, it really has 3 safety men back there. That's
what he's done there. All right, Cleveland Cooper on a 2nd and 7. He can move.
He really can, and he got it out of bounds. Got it out of bounds. That's important. Stop that clock. Now they're getting close to that midfield stripe.
Number 75. Mike Roban carrying, knifing off to the far side of the line. And she's great.
Beautiful young woman.
Wide World Sports. 2nd and 7 now from the 44. And even though he had that arm cocked, brought it back and tried to get away, there was a tremendous Army rush led by Ray Beverly, number 68 of San Antonio, Texas. Have an I formation. Roban.
Tried the old screen up the middle. They were in a prevent with a super safety back there. No sense trying to throw it deep. Probably be picked off. So Georgie Welsh went to the center screen. I think it was a good call.
Screen now out of view, number 80.
Oh, they decided to just try to keep the ball and almost broke it as Roban showed his skill in the open field.
He went 21 yards and knocking the ball loose was Al Starkill. So it's halftime with the score Navy 17, Army nothing. We'll be back at John F. Kennedy Memorial Stadium in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Bill Fleming back at John F. Kennedy Stadium, where the President of the United States now is at the center of the field. Everyone is standing around him, and at this moment he is receiving the commemorative coin which he flipped at the beginning of the game. The Army Brigade Commander James K. Abko of St. Louis, Missouri, is accompanied there by the Superintendent of the Academy, Major General Sidney Berry, and the men from Navy, the Superintendent, Vice Admiral William P. Mack, and Brigade Commander Midshipman Captain Jim Adams of Beltsville, Maryland. James Schlesinger, the Secretary of Defense, is greeted the President at the center of the gridiron. Now, the President, they're headed today, despite this rather wintry day. It is a sunshiny day. He is dressed in a fur-collared coat, as you can see. Now he's shaking hands with the Superintendent of the Academy, Major General Berry. Next to Major General Barry is James Schlesinger, the Secretary of Defense, who has been accompanied today by the Secretary of the Army. And now the Brigade Commander, James Adcower, is escorting President Ford to this side of the field, and we hope to be able to get a word with him. Your presence today, of course, has been something extra special to this game.
Well, I've been to, I think, 4 or 5 Army-Navy games, and every one of them is a different ball game. Every one is interesting, and plus all the excitement, the wonderful cadets and midshipmen. I really enjoy being here, Bill.
I think the Corps is hoping that you will bring them as good a luck as you brought the midshipmen at 17-0 against them.
Well, I didn't dare mention that I might bring the Army luck when I left the Navy side, but I can cheer a little for the Army now, I guess.
You know, Mr. President, football has played a great role in your particular life. Just 2 days ago, you had a wonderful reunion with Grand Rapids South teammates.
Well, that old gang that I played high school football with in 1930, we've gotten together every year at Thanksgiving, which was the anniversary of our state championship game. So to see 23 out of the 30 back, it was quite a thrill for me.
I noticed, too, that Silas McGee was back for the first time in, 44 years?
This was the first time since 1931, correct. He's been out in the West Coast as a longshoreman and just retired, and we had a hard time finding him. But he got some friends that helped him get some money, and he came out, and he was as big a ham Thursday as he was when we were playing ball.
You know, 1 week ago, you were in Vladivostok at your historic summit meeting with Soviet Secretary Brezhnev. And at that time, everybody here in the United States was very much involved with football, particularly Ohio State and Michigan. How did you get word of the game?
Well, as a matter of fact, they woke me up about 5:30 in the morning, which was Sunday morning out there, and told me the bad news from the point of view of Michigan. They tried to console me by saying that the kick almost went over in the last 30 seconds. But those games are great, Bill. I fortunately played in 3 of them.
I know. Won 2 of them.
Won 2 out of 3. But they seem to be better ball players now and put on a better show. So
they center a little differently now, don't they?
Well,
than when you centered.
We think we used to do that pretty well. But it's a lot easier to center it the way they do now and block. We used to have to center and block. So at least in one aspect, I think we did a little better than they do today.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, President Ford. We want to mention to you that on November 22nd, 1975, the Buckeyes will be in the Michigan Stadium. If you and Mrs. Ford and Mike and John and Steve and Susan can come, I'm sure Don Canham can find 6 tickets.
Well, I'd like to see it. I had planned on it this year, but then we ended up in Vladivostok, so I got it by radio, and I'll see you there on the 22nd.
Fine. Thanks very much, sir.
Nice to see you.
Goodbye now.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's very strange to be hearing the strains of the Victors March, the victory song of the University of Michigan at an Army-Navy game, but of course, it is in honor of the President of the United States.
17-0 is the halftime score, and Coach Ben Martin of the Air Force Academy, our guest today. Analyze it for us, Coach.
Well, I think the story is right there in arithmetic. Navy has rushed the ball a great deal more than Army, and passing has been virtually non-existent. I think that that's the key to the thing, that Army is going to have to be able to throw the ball now, and they can do it. If they go to that spread formation, they throw the ball very well, and I think we'll see a little bit of that very early in the second half.
And up front there we'll have these players: Hodges, Leopold, Arenano, Caslow, Begley, Moritz, and Daly. Logley down at the bottom. You got a good look at him. He's a junior. And we have Dale Dodrill, who had a couple of fine runs, number 37 in the first half. Dan Spangler, who carried the ball in the last play, and Marcus Hardy. So now it's a 2nd down and 6 from the 27 for Army. They trail. Second play of the second half, and Spangler gets the call again, and he comes a little closer to that forward stake. But it appears that they'll need the 3rd down. Williams to the far side. First down play. Delogley wants to throw. a beautiful catch
and a
by
big man.
Tony Daly. And a face mask on top of it. A 35-yard strike. And Daly is a tight end.
Again. The end releases, it's a throwback, a good play fake, and a beautiful ball thrown right on the money.
10 for Army to 15 of Navy. Their deepest penetration thus far. Hit it with a forward pass. It's Marcus Hardy, number 45. Nice off to the right side. Let's see a replay of the face mask violation.
Just reaches out and grabs it. Of course, that's a day.
17-0. All this from JFK Stadium in Philadelphia. Marcus Hardy, nice across the 10, down to between the 8 and 9 hash marks. They're a little outnumbered here today. On a 3rd down and 4, gain of a yard, so it brings up a 4th down. Paypack, defensively strong on the play for the Navy defense, number 77, the defensive left tackle. So the ball between the hash marks 8 and 9, and it brings up a 4th down. And as we look to the far side, it's a good 3 yards for the 1st down.
And they're not going for any field goal here. They've got to get a 6-pointer, I'm sure. Homer Smith knows that he has to make a conversion out of this one, so you're going to see a play coming up here.
All right, 4th down and 3. Army fans, Navy fans. Oh, it's really close. The stakes are on the far side, the opposite side of the field, as the referee, Winterberg, looks to the far side. He calls him the linesman, John A. Warner, Jr., and the crew. And this is now when the Corps of Cadets not make a lot of noise. But should it be to their advantage, you'll hear plenty.
We sure will. You will know without being able to see which way it goes. But it is very close. And Army came back to the weak side of their offensive formation that time for the option play. I think it was a good call. Just not enough field to give them the running room they needed. They had to cut back up in there to try to get the yardage.
And Navy gives you the indication that with the carry and 51 Dyson and also 94 Trailer, Tiki Trailer, as we look at the offensive line of Navy. In motion, Jackson, who scored both Navy touchdowns. And again, it is Goodwin, and it appears that he did not make the Navy 1st down, so it'll bring up a punting situation. And on zone 37, Woodcock, number 40 to the near side. Hall rifling one, and
He threw it to somebody, but it's from the other service.
And a fumble recovery at the Army 13, and on the 4th play went in. So Robin hands off, and Navy, precision-like with Goodwin in the fullback, carrying the ball to the 42 of Army, so it'll be a 2nd down and 3. 8:16 to go, Navy leading 17-0. They're moving the ball. Cleveland Cooper gets to about the 40 and on the play.
You know, of all the total 1st downs, of which 21 have been made, 19 of them by rushing, that shows that passing has really been a secondary role here today.
So let's see what the Midshipmen will do. 3rd and 1. Gilmore. 1st down for Navy. Navy at the 35 of Army. They lead 17-0. Navy. Beautiful pass by Robin. And after catching the ball, Kevin Sullivan wanted more. He's a DC. 2nd and 12 as we had a penalty. Into the flat to Jackson. And Jackson. Look at the battle for the ball. He got near the 11.
I think the whistle is blown, but that was a flood pattern. They were unbalanced to start with, and then they motioned Jackson out to the strong side. So,
all right, Navy 1 of 7. 3rd down conversions. Gilmore. Another close one coming up as Mark Smith, number 93, moved laterally, along with Dave Cabbage at the 49 following an interception of an Army pass, and they go for it on 4th down, leading 17-0 here in the closing minutes of the 3rd quarter. Gary Goodwin, the fullback, and looks from here Now the indication, first down.
Navy running back Cleveland Cooper has suffered a slight thigh contusion in his left leg. He's loosening up on the sidelines right now, and the Navy trainer tells me he should be able to go back in the game soon. Chris?
Okay, thank you, Don. As we now have a 1st and 10, the ball's on the stripe. Navy. Jackson has scored the 2 Navy touchdowns. Jeff Bruckner, number 61 on the tackle here on the near side of the field. 38, Bob Jackson from Lindenwold, New Jersey. 6'4", 231 pounds. He's got a lot of size. 2nd and 3 from the 3. And Army at the challenge of Bob Jackson. Rick Kanev, number 91. You see him there in the white Army jersey. All right, they've gone 45 yards in 9 plays in this drive. It's a 3rd down.
Oh, that's a super defensive play.
This time Gilmore carried the ball, and up comes the 4th down. 4th down, Navy. And the Cadets now should be fired up because they take over on downs. They're deep in their own territory. At their own 1, Army has the ball now, trailing 0-17, and
Holy mackerel.
a little of everything for Navy. A safety.
Navy blitzed him and caught the quarterback in that end zone. They were going to run the option play instead of giving it straight ahead. That's a pretty dangerous thing to do, as they found out. In a few years, he's a super player and a great young man, and we certainly wish him the best.
All right, number 47, Steve Barnett of Los Angeles, kicking.
Normally, in a situation like this, Chris, they punt the ball.
Right, I was surprised to see it teed up. Robin Amin has it for Navy, 30, 35, 40, up to about the 45. 18-yard return by Navy's Robin Amin. And at the moment, it's 19-0. The 45, 1st and 10. Rogan. He's a tough first-year man.
He's a big kid, weighs about 205 pounds, and he is a strong runner. As the defense is done, Cavies, linebacker, picks up the bootleg, which is a tough thing, trying to fool him, but it didn't fool him. It's a good hit right here as Mike Robin puts on the power, and Duncavies really brings him down, though, to save a longer gain.
And number 15.
He'll do a super job for him there. He knows the offense, he knows his players, and he's been in the Army-Navy game before. I think that he'll do a fine job for the Navy team, although we hate to see Mike Robin go out of there with any kind of an injury.
So now he has a 3rd down and 2. Trying to get the Navy 1st down on the ground with Goodwin, the fullback. 1st down for the Navy. It's a 2nd down and 10 now here at John F. Kennedy Stadium with 40 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Robin shaken up, and the report to us is that he will return in the 4th quarter. 2nd down. And Cleveland Cooper, number 25. He and Goodwin providing a very fine 1-2 punch.
They're turning that clock around fast, which is what Army doesn't want to happen, but Navy knows it, and they have done a good job of maintaining possession.
There's Cooper, 25. Zigging and zagging. Cooper couldn't find the room. Freshman Steve Melich of Orlando, Florida, number 22, 19-0. Big play. Goodwin appears to have made the Navy 1st down.
Back, Mike Robin has a slightly bruised left shoulder. The doctors are working on it right now, and they tell me he should be able to go back in the game later. Chris?
Thank you, Don. Bill Fleming, Don Tollison, Coach Ben Martin from California. 1st and 10 for Navy at the 30. Jackson in motion. Marker is down. As Perrier is sacked by Rick Conniff. Rick Conniff.
Oh, he's playing a great game, and those guys from West Point, that's super play by down lineman. And the 3rd quarter statistics, I think the significance of that is the total yards 281 and those turnovers down the bottom. Oh my goodness.
And we have an illegal. There you see 16 per year. Cooper. Hoping to clear some traffic. You probably saw him, was number 43, the fullback, Gary Goodwin. Cooper going outside, and Mark Smith made the tackle ability.
It really is, and he's a great competitor.
All right, 3rd and 9 for Navy at the Army 29. Per year.
Oh, the pressure is on Roban again. Oh, he likes those good football players just as I do.
All right, John Stufflebeam back to punt on 4th down and 18. Army will get the ball. Ball rolling. Smithy and White was the deep receiver, but the Navy protected. And again, Army forced back to its wall again. Will try to move it from the 7. Galogly is the quarterback, and from the wishbone with a split into the far side. Lofts one over to big number 83, Tony Daly, the sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland. At the 17, Navy leading 19-0. 2 in a row completions. This one to John Hodges of Princeton, New Jersey, a senior, number 31. Williams, 89, is split to the near side of the field. Navy leading 19-0. We're in the 4th quarter, 12 and a half to go. He wanted to throw another pass, but Tim Harden, number 84 from San Luis Obispo, California, was in there too quickly. There you see him, number 84. He is playing. Williams is opposite. 3rd and 7. And it fails.
Navy's reading that spread formation very well, not giving Hall much time. And
if Army had to dedicate this game to one man, it would have to be their non-playing captain, Bob Johnson. Johnson, who is the first black captain in Army history, has not played in a single game this year. This summer he had a cancer removed from his right arm, and in order to avoid possible permanent damage, he had to give up football. At first, doctors thought he would be unable to receive a combat commission, but he told me earlier this week that he'll get that commission and fulfill a lifelong dream. Chris?
Thank you, Don. Robin Amin now set away to the far side on 2nd down and 8 from the 40. Roban back in the lineup, handing the ball off to Mike Yeager. No. So now we have a 3rd and 5 from the 43. Loose ball. Goodwin carried the ball for Army. Set to the near side of the field. Howie Williams, number 89. Galogly throws to tough Tony Daly, number 83, and he's out for the Army 1st down.
sets up. He's going to flow right. Looks right, sets, and throws back a little curl-in pattern to the other side. Very effectively done. That's good execution. Here's the end coming in. He curls up, stays open, and is hit very good timing. That's a precision.
To the near side of the field on 2nd and 10 from the 38. Lying out there is Woodcock, and stepping in the picture is John Sturgis, the freshman, who covered the previous pass play.
They're in a pure zone that time. They're not being fooled at all. Navy settling back, playing almost a prevent-type secondary.
This was the last pass. And watch the interception by Sturgis.
Good field position, body position, rebounding. Take the ball at its highest point. I think there'll be a lot of good passing in that contest.
All right. And Navy continuing to run out the clock with their ground game. Ed Gilmore carrying on that play. Stu Miller, number 32, on the tackle next week. And our statistician, Ben Harvey from Princeton, goes to Ithaca. Is he happy? Happier than the Cadets here as Ed Gilmore carried on the play. Wilson?
As many of you know, it's almost time for the Heisman Trophy to be announced, and later on this afternoon on ABC, you'll be able to see two of the top contenders for that award, USC's Anthony Davis and Notre Dame's Tom Clements. Immediately following Wide World of Sports, we'll be moving to the Los Angeles Coliseum to watch John McKay's USC Trojans face Ara Parseghian's Notre Dame Fighting Irish in one of the great traditional battles. Chris?
Now it's 3rd down and 11. The down remains the same on the 5 yards. Ed Gilmore, number 22, carries on the play out to about the 40. From the 35 to the 40 is Stu Miller, and 51 Greg Tyson from the 24 of Army, trailing 19-0. And Lehman Hall, the passing quarterback, throws one. And he he throws it to number 46, Chuck Heising.
Defense now, they have a 2 deep, 2 forward, 6 under, and 3 rushing. They've covered that field pretty well. The three-man rushing, they're putting the ball out there.
So on 2nd and 3, freshman number 16, Lehman Hall, carried on the play, lost the handle, and it is recovered again, the 5th turnover for Army. And that has told much of the story of this game if you just joined us with 3 minutes and 32 seconds left in the game. This will be now the 2nd and 10 from the 36. And there's a great offensive star as well as his teammate Cooper, Gary Goodwin. 3rd and 5. Jackson in motion, who scored the 2 Navy touchdowns. Gilmore.
Now, there's no doubt what Navy has in mind here. They men up front, all closing the gaps to the inside, and it's an off-tackle slant, which is the best play possible against that. But there we go. They have the good D going against that one. Uh-oh. Oops. All right. So the officials are heads up. Ball goes over.
All right, the Army defense has done its job in this particular series of downs. Superman. Number 14, Galogli, pitching it out to an option pitch from Greg McClaster. 2 quarterbacks in the lineup.
Well, that's a razzle-dazzle when they do that. A halfback pass, a pass to run option, but it was a pass all the way that time. Comes back and then gets out of bounds.
All right, on the first down play, hoping to pass was Galogli. The 3rd-string quarterback, McGlasker, had gone out of the lineup. Galogli picking them up and laying them down, coming inside the 40 now, Navy. Time left in the ball game. Well, the field clock is covered by fans. Directed by Chet Forty. Associate Director Jack Gallivan here in the booth as Galogli on 4th down and 3 gives it to Hardy. Hardy has a first down. Time is running out. He got out of bounds to stop the clock. And we have 39 seconds remaining. Ithaca has defeated Slippery Rock 27-14, and they go to the Stag Bowl to be seen on ABC next week.
I'll tell you, Chris, even way out west in Colorado, people know about Slippery Rock.
Right. And you know about Janet Lynn, and so will Tinley Albright, former Olympic champion. Now, 1st and 10. Army, Lehman Hall, the passer. Gets hit by Dave Paypack, and was the ball loose?
It was.
But was recovered by number... Well, we missed his number, but... Yes, and this game is one of them. With a 2nd down and 18 from the 35. 20 seconds to go. Army trying to get on the scoreboard. And Bob Simons again tackled by Dave Paypack.
Oh, that was a great play by Paypack because he is only 1 of 3 in the primary zone.
The letter goes on to thank Roone Arledge, Chuck Howard, and all the executives, announcers, producers, etc. Roy Williams is set to the far side on a 3rd down and 17 from the 34. 11 seconds to go. Bob Woodcock, another potential receiver in the double wing formation, going downfield. 3 men out there. All throws. And too long. 89, Howie Williams was out there. We have 4 seconds left on the clock, and some of the fans now are trying to get the goalpost to the left. And the goalpost on the right goes down.
Well, I don't think they wanted to kick a field goal anyway, Chris. That's the exuberance of the people in this. Everybody gets involved in an Army-Navy game.
Ben, what players do you like, offensive and defensive award winners today?
Well, I think that the fact that Cleveland Cooper went over 100 for the 3rd straight Army-Navy game, and he's an inspirational player, and the Navy is a victor because of that. I think that offensively he should be. And on defense, the Army defense was tenacious, and I think Rick Conniff up front, nose guard, did a super job.
The senior from Winter Park, Florida. So in his last game for the Black Knights of the Hudson, I'm sure that he'll appreciate it, as will his teammates, the scholarship of $1,000 going into the General Scholarship Fund at West Point.
In a very important contest.
The delay now is trying to escort or ask or remove fans The fans have removed both goalposts, which this year in college, rather on the end line, and they're down. The crowd here today, which included President Gerald Ford looking into the sunshine, totaled 83,247. And those are the midshipmen from the Naval Academy, who have plenty to cheer about. On the other hand, it is a long gray line.
The Army's going to try to throw a football into that direction, and they have to have all the room that they need there, and that's only fair. They should get them out of there because even if there's only just one more play, they deserve to have the complete football field to work in.
Another game today, Notre Dame, Southern California at 5 Eastern time, preceded by International Skating 17. Just a few seconds, 4 to go. Army has not scored in 7 quarters against Navy in this Army-Navy game. There's one that's getting snow on it. It's coming down. It's up for grabs. It's in the end zone. No one has it. Woodcock covered it, but it bounced around off helmets, hands, and ground. And so, time has run out in the Diamond Anniversary game of a classic that began in 1890 when they played 2 45-minute periods. President Gerald Ford, watching first on the Navy side, at halftime moved over on the Army side, and the game has ended. It is a Navy victory again, and they retain the Commander-in-Chief trophy, 19-0.